Katie, I can tell you I am definitely not an introvert. You can tell right now. And I have no problem with that. I am run pretty much with my life as Willy Wonka. And which is pretty much why I'm up here showing you my product, because mine doesn't melt like an ice cream or have a donut that's going to be eaten up right away or whatever it might be. So I'm a really big show and tell guy and a product guy. So I'll just let you, you can talk about your roots. I grew up in Corvallis, Oregon, if you haven't noticed yet. So all the Duck fans, just chill. Everything's fine. I worked you in the story later. I worked at Nike for 10 years. I grew up with sports, crazy. My dream was to play pro basketball, too short. Football, too short, could catch the ball. Okay. Baseball. Dad drove me into baseball, and I lived and breathed shortstop, second base, played baseball, Portland State, Lynn Benton, and then went, you know what? That's a long haul. Got out of that. Went in design, and I ended up at Nike. So it was like my dream. Nike was awesome, 10 years on Nike. But I have a family of entrepreneurs. My dad, everybody, actually, every one of my dads and grandpas are entrepreneurs. And every time, at Nike, I made stuff like this. And they were like, it was always design and then Michael, HR, I was a nightmare for HR. I'd throw in my business card, I'd say, King of the World. And they say, come on, man. I go, all right, fine, creative director of the universe. And they're like, Jesus, Michael. So finally, they'd had it with me, and I'd had it with them, even though I love Nike. But it wasn't anymore where I could make stuff. And in the year 2000, specifically November 16th, Thursday, because that's the week of the Civil War. And that year was and I think it is still the greatest Civil War, one, because the Beavers won, and two, because they were both ranked in the top 10. I don't think it's ever happened before. Even when they had Rose Bowl contentions, they were not in the top. Maybe the Ducks were, not the Beavers. So they were both. There were Ducks for 5, Beavers 8. I'm going to the game Saturday. My last day at Nike is Thursday the 16th. I'm done. And my boss at the time, I didn't really like. He was a big Duck fan. He had green and yellow jelly beans. I'm like, all right, give me a break. So 6:30 at night, he comes down. Like, hey, Michael, see you later. And I'm talking to him, saying I'm going to the game, and I just didn't like him. And so he goes, it'll be a great game. And it just exploded out. I went, we're going to kick your ass. And he goes, all right, Michael, well, have a good life, So 10 minutes later, I'm sketching out on a napkin at a restaurant, a helmet. I gotta make something. So I sketch out like an old football helmet, like from the Beavers, Giant Killers days, and it's got orange O's and stripes, and I steel spikes up here and rubber ducky slammed on it, and I'm gonna make this thing. So that night and the next day, I made this helmet. These things had to glue for 24 hours at least, and they still were not dry by kickoff at noon, which Dan Fouts and Pete Jackson called, if you guys watched that game. It was nationally televised. And I am damn sure that these distractions to Joey has why he threw those 5 picks, and we won that game. So, and there was a little bit of maybe friendly fire. I almost killed some people behind me with my bopping up and down. During the game, I'd walk through, Duck fans would be booing, and Beaver fans would be cheering, and I was on the big screen. It was like, after the game, I'm going, helmets could be expressive. Wow, who knew that helmets could do something like hats? So one thing led to another. I started, and this is how I think. I just start putting the puzzle together. So how can they bottle this thing into a business? And I start looking at, I never give a crap about helmets. You kidding me? Helmets? I went and looked at helmets. They all suck. Let's face it. I looked at helmets. They're graphic, road ones, road guys, whatever. But the helmet itself is actually a pretty cool canvas for art. And so I first tried to make it so that I could do mascots. So every school could have a dog, husky dog, or a Trojan, and they slam it on, and they could take it off, and then they could ride. But that was a little hard to do. So it took me a couple years to kind of go and figure this out. I found sourcing. It's kind of started to do what I've always dreamed to do, is create a product brand like I had lived at Nike. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. But I wanted to make all the decisions until a point. But I wanted that experience. I wanted to source it. I didn't want to just hand off what I do to somebody else. I started getting so frustrated with that at Nike. Again, love Nike. But it's like, wasn't satisfying enough. And this is what I started to do. I started piecing it together while I had my day job of doing creative direction for NFL, NBA, X Games, all these other things I started doing afterwards. And I'd go to trade shows, and I'd go China sourcing, hey, and I started doing that deal. Started going to China, which I had never done. So figuring out the finance. Logistics, what's that? This is my wife's great one. Logistics, what is that? It's what she does every day. move boxes. So one thing led to another, and it kind of changed instead of having, mascots and whatnot, it's like, how about this thing looks like something? Because all the graphics out there are Barney dinosaurs, skull and crossbones, shards of glass. Ugly. And there's nobody doing it, and there's no love for these brands. Nobody cares who Bell Giro is. They don't care. There's no love, there's no emotion, there's no love affair, there's nothing. So I started doing what I do, putting words and pictures together, writing things. What would make a cool helmet that people would think was lifestyle? I write in journals. It's kind of how I just do things. And Nutcase came up, and I think the first person to actually ask was my little daughter, Alina, at the time was 8 or so or whatever, and I said, what do you think of Nutcase? And she goes, I like that. I think so too. Nutcase, that could be kind of good. And it kind of works with me. So, and my wife over here, Miriam. So we did that. Our first design to just get it going was a watermelon. So I kind of thought, wouldn't it be great if you're riding around the street with a watermelon in your head? The funniest thing I've ever seen. So we put together, after I'd found the Chinese factory, the this and the that, watermelon. We shot a watermelon, did all this design, sent it off, and we were praying. Get it back about 4 weeks in this beat up box. I'm like, oh my God. Open up the box and it's like, oh! Like, what? These guys nailed it. So we're running around the office and look at this. And everybody just has a big smile. Like, oh, where do you get that? And I go, that's when we looked at each other and went, we got something here. We can do this. And so from that point on, it was hell or high water, Nutcase. And that set us off on a wild ride, which was we're not, like you said, we weren't in the helmet business or the bike business, but it came to find out that actually that was a good thing. The bike industry didn't need another bike guy coming in with another bike brainwash thing, We came at it from design, creativity, cool, style, fashion. And stores, that helps stores, bike stores, who are all bike geeks and mechanics and stuff, bring in regular, normal people who like visual world, who like sports. And that's enabled it to grow, the bike industry to grow on one level. We're still dinky, but it helped them bring new customers in. We kept playing that card to the tune of 35 countries now that we distribute worldwide. This is our 9th year. We have an office of 17 now over in Southeast. And it just continues to grow. We've had our bumps and whatever. It was just Miriam and I running the whole thing until 2010. There was no employees until then. Now we have, like I said, 17. And so it's been a crazy ride, but we always start with every day with, wouldn't it be great? How do we take this energy and pull it into everything that we do while we're now trying to build a sustainable business and have profit and all of that sort of stuff. And now my time is up. This is a 15-minute presentation. I put in 7.5. So, okay. So now, I don't think there's any ice cream coming, but Kim Malik is going to talk to you about creating awesome neighborhoods. Go ahead, Kim.